Hey everybody, Spartan here from SpartanTrading.com. I want to hit you guys with another trade review. In this video, we're going to be looking at 3 trades from today. If you're unfamiliar, the date is January 28th, 2021. A lot of craziness going on if you're looking back and watching this video. This is when, GME had that big run. This is when AMC had that big run. You had a lot of short squeezes and things like that. So what has happened is that type of movement has sparked basically low floats running. And that's what I want to go over today. Just some low floats trades that I took. How they played out, etc. As well as I want to talk about an options trade that I took today. That was a news-related trade that I haven't covered anything news-related before, but I think it's a good idea to talk about the thought process and how I think about in regards to risk-reward and where the stock could potentially have room to very quickly as that news comes out. So first and foremost, BRN. Let's talk about this one. This is going to be the short and sweet one for the day that I did at the end of the day. Basically, was looking around. I had this one, an alert set on this one around like 260. I saw a little bit of volume come in at the beginning of the day. So I set an alert on it. Basically, I had it on the side charts as well. Anyways, it started to push up. I watched it. I ended up grabbing it on that 260 break around the 344, 350 area. So I was in at 340, 354, full size, pretty quickly right out the gate. Sold a bunch at the 408s. I added back when I saw more volume coming into it at 448. Started to push higher. I sold some more into 517, 515. So about a point and change on that, or almost 2 points. And then it continued to push up, and I basically just started to scale out the rest of it. 570, 580, 614, and then 656. So it ended up being a quick 3-point trade at the end of the day. I mean, this is within 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. So end of the day trade, low flows are running. What happens is when you get these low floats running, you tend to find retail or other chat rooms or whatever. They're going to be looking for something at the end of the day to push, or if something is moving at the end of the day, everyone's going to hop on. And this was the case today. And it's the case too that retail has been pushing around stocks quite a bit, and everyone kind of follows what's moving from a percentage or volume standpoint, and everyone basically hops on the train and it pushes the stock higher because there's so much momentum and demand behind it. So it was just basically taking advantage of the situation that was today. But yeah, good trade, 3 points to the upside, almost 100% trade on it. I tried to sell some at $7. I didn't get my fill, unfortunately. Highest sell was 656. I tried, but I missed it by a penny. It is what it is. Anywho, let's take a look at some other trades here. What do I want to talk about? Ooh, where are you? Let's talk about that GM news play, and then we'll go through the big one, which is going to be GBR. So GM, which was a news play, basically EV news came out with GM. Stock popped to the upside. What I originally did right out the gate was, I'm just going to show you on this platform, just because it can be easier for me to show you the daily real quick. So GM, I immediately brought up the daily when the news came out. Looked at the chart, looked at the daily. I could see it was flagging to the upside. It actually had quite a bit of room higher. I figured it was going to go through 53.65, possibly get into the 55s if it got a lot of fall through. It didn't end up getting as much fall through as I would like, but it did work out. So GM, because of that, let me just pop up this again. There you go. So GM, because of that, I grabbed the 55 calls because I figured it could get to 55. It's also Thursday. These calls were fairly cheap. They were 25 cents. Given the delta as well, I figured it could be a pretty quick 100% trade, if not more. Basically, when news comes out, you check where it has room to really quickly. And if you like what you see on the daily chart, you take the position. If you can, quickly do the math that, okay, this has enough room given the risk reward for me to, equal that 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. This one didn't quite get to 3-to-1. It did go up 300%. I mean, realistically, I probably would have taken it off at like 10 cents if it failed. But anyways, got in at 25 cents. Basically got in a whole bunch. Whenever I get whenever you get news coming out, I typically grab size. Grab size at 25 cents. It pushed up a little bit. Sold some at 30, sold some at 42, and then I ended up selling all of it at 83 cents. I was waiting for that kind of blow-off push to the upside. Right when I saw that that this stock was extended intraday, and I saw that volume was dying down, I figured, okay, it's not going to my resistance point. I'm just going to take the position off. And you can see that, GM actually only pushed to, was it 50? Yeah, $53 on the upside. The next resistance that I had was 55s. There was a little bit of resistance, which is a previous day high around 53, like 45. But, I figured it would go a little bit higher. Oh, 53. Yeah, around like 53.45. But anyways, decent trade. Got 230% on that with some, size. And that's all you need. News plays happened really quick. I mean, you can see how fast the trade was, guys. In at 11:03, out at the latest 11:08. So 5-minute trade. Doesn't take a lot of time on these news plays to make your day, but you have to react quick and you cannot hesitate. If you hesitate, you miss it. You hesitate, you'll get a worse entry, and there's no point of, chasing it if that's the case. Every single minute that you wait or second that you wait after you see a news alert come out and it's something that you want to take, you're going to get a worse risk-reward trade, and the opportunity at some point won't be there anymore. So it's going to diminish as time persists. Anyways, let's take a look at the last one, which is GBR. And this one is quite the trade. If you guys saw GBR today, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you didn't see it, then, if you're looking back on this, because this is an older video, GBR went from $3 to $30 today. So, essentially it was, I guess it went up 900%. Anyways, saw this thing was starting to break out. Again, low floats are going crazy this morning. What I like to do is I'll nibble on a few of them. This one looked really good. I grabbed, just because I saw volume coming in immediately out the gate. And I know that GBR is a former runner. The other thing that I know about GBR is if you look at the daily chart, there was no resistance, basically above like $3-4. So I figured if it's going to break that level, it's going to be able to rip to the upside. So in that case, I'm going to have a little bit more conviction on it. And it worked. I mean, this name did end up breaking out above that level, all-time highs, and getting some serious continuation. I actually believe this is a reverse split name. I can't see it on this platform, but I'll show you on the other one, where I was getting resistance points. And then at that point, I think when it broke $12 or $12.75, it was at all-time highs. And then I was just doing Fibonacci extensions to give me new levels to the upside. So anyways, this stock got in at $3. Pretty much got pretty big out the gate. And then, started to push up. I accidentally sold a piece here. But anyways, continued to push up higher, added into it. Started to see some, obviously resistance kicking in or some sellers on the L2. So I started to take a little bit of profit. It ended up pushing through those resistance levels, ended up adding back into the position. And this is another example of trading around a core. So it was, added back into the position, sold a little bit on a pullback there, continued to push up higher, added more into the position. Basically, I know what happened here. My stop was at basically right at my entry, and it ended up actually exiting the position there. Ended up getting back in at 530, which was, over here. So I was waiting for the flag break to occur. Ended up getting back in at that 530 area, which was right here. Pretty big size. Sold into the push a little bit. And basically, as it pushed to the upside into the 8s, 9s, etc., I was just adding into the core and selling a piece, adding to the core, selling a piece. You can see all the way up to the, $10, 930. Started to pull back again. At this point, I sold all of it at the 930 area because I figured there was some topping kicking in around some resistance. It pulled back. It started to create a flag pattern. I waited for an entry again, grabbed some long at 730s, added pretty much immediately, sold a little bit into that pop, into the $8 area. As it pushed to the upside and broke this resistance, which was the high of the day, added back into the position and ended up, just basically trading around that core. This is the third trade, by the way, on the stock. Trading around that core as it pushed to the upside. So, pushed to the upside into the 12s, 13s, 15s. This is when I started to get a lot of conviction on the stock because it broke all-time highs. I figured, okay, we got $15, then we got $18.40, then we're going to $24. And I was pretty confident we could get to that 24 once we broke the 15. And it ended up breaking through the 15, so I ended up adding more into the position. Sold some at 18.28, got a little bit of a pullback, added some at 17.40s. I sold a little bit at 17.23, 16.63, reduced the size because I was getting a little bit... I was seeing it was a little bit extended and volume was kind of dying down. This is when it was like, almost consolidating for about 20, 30 minutes. Ended up holding EMA support. So I ended up adding back into it. And then, scaling out into that push here Obviously as it pushed up, I added into it, ended up scaling out some into that push. 2021. Again, it started to get some more momentum, so I added back into the position, scaled up more. 26, 27, I sold the entire position. I then found that I had locates still on the stock, so I got locates on the short side. So, I mean, what is this to the upside? I don't know. Let's call it probably around, I don't know. It's got to be at least like 20 points. No, let's call it like 18 points. 18 points to the upside. Anyways, short side, ended up seeing some topping kicking in, volume dying down. I saw some weakness across the board in some of the lower float stuff. So I ended up taking some short around 26, 26. Added a little bit on the, it dipped real quick. Added a little bit at the 23.77. Ended up bouncing up a little bit, so I ended up covering some for a couple points profit there. Kept, continuing to pull down, so I shorted some more. Got a little bit of a bounce. Covered into that bounce. I figured, okay, reduce the size a little bit, but let's keep the core position. And then it eventually, snapped the EMA, started to sell off more, and then I added more into that pull, 22s, 21s, 2074 full size. And I was covering basically in the after hours 1918, 1950. It bounced a little bit. I covered or sold some more at 2150, 19s, and then I ended up covering 1881, 1989, etc. And then basically at the end, I was kind of just, little bit of a, I was out of it here. And then basically at this point, I took a loss on it. I shorted some at, 1865, took a loss at 2035. And then I shorted some at 1650 and covered the rest at 1660. And I figured, okay, I'm just done with it. So all in all, great trade. To the upside and to the downside, a lot of, trading around the core. And that's how I typically will treat these momentum names. I try to always keep a core on. I did about, I would say, 5 different trades on it today. 3 to the upside and 2 to the downside. Overall, worked pretty good. I would say probably, let's call it like 25 points. It's probably less than what overall it equaled to, but, just to be conservative. But anyways, low float stocks. This is, just a trade review of a couple ones that I traded today, guys. Hopefully you learned something or enjoyed the video. Again, what I'm doing is I'm basically just gauging the volume, and if something is going to continue to push up higher, I'm going to add back into the position. Scaling out into the pushes as you usually and should do. Don't wait till you hit resistance to scale out, guys. Sell into resistance levels, because once you hit the resistance, people are going to be, or it's going to act as resistance. There's going to be selling occurring at that level anyways, so you might as well sell into the level. Do I know if it's going to break the resistance? No. If it has a lot more volume, it's more likely to, but you don't know for sure, so it's always a good idea to sell into those areas. One thing I didn't mention, as these low floats are running, guys, I'm moving my stops up. Typically, as it's pushing to the upside and I start scaling out, my stop goes to my entry level, whatever my average is at, and then I'll just move it up alongside the parabolic trend. In this case, you can draw the trend line, or if you have a short-term EMA that you use, you can give it 50 cents to $1 below that. Something like this that has this much range, you need to give it that much room. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, you can go to SpartanTrading.com. Check us out there. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.